Hello there, everybody. Sabanai2 aka Nightmare, and welcome back to Assassination Classroom. Oh boy, how do I describe last week? So, aside from a test that all of the students of the school had to participate in, I got to see on display a little bit more of the discrimination of the students, the disparaging remarks that are thrown at Class E, as well as just how badly they're treated. Like they weren't even given extra pieces of paper talking about the itinerary and everything that was going to be happening, which ironically led to one of my more favorite moments with Koro Sensei just kind of coming in at the rescue with his disguise and making sure his students had all the paperwork. Like, it really goes to show that Koro Sensei legitimately cares. And he's like, okay, you're gonna fuck with my students? I ain't gonna let you do that, essentially. It shows that he is kind of protective over them, even if they are, even if the main thing that this plan is to try to kill him. Like, it was interesting. And one thing that I had brought up, I think I brought up, like, I think it was the second week, or was it last week? I honestly can't remember. The effects of teaching these students how to properly kill someone or attempt to kill someone. It desensitized them in some regard to the actual act of attempting to murder something. And ironically, that kind of worked to their benefit whenever Nagisa, I think, was being tormented by, alternate universe Deku and Ida. He just kind of stood up for himself, like, as soon as they threatened to kill him, like, I was like, have you even ever tried to kill someone? Like, everything about that, seeing them stand up for themselves, A+, absolutely A+. Another thing that kind of showed up, now that we have a tangible goal aside from, killing Koro Sensei to save the planet and all that. Like, now they have a tangible goal to where they want to score in the top 50 just to kind of say fuck you to all of the elite students. Because after a test that they had done so well to prepare for, the principal is like, I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in here and I'm not gonna let anybody know about what happened. Like, first off, dirty move just for him to uphold the status quo. Now, admittedly, I got very, very mad. That is unfortunately one of those problems that I tend to have with stuff like that. But I'm not entirely mad at the principal, because you can kind of see where he's coming from. He's definitely in this role of like a pseudo villain, which I don't really agree with, but it kind of shows that he's written well. Like, he's just not like, I don't know. He laid the groundwork for how his school works and how the students end up becoming, really elite people in the working world and all that stuff. So he laid the groundwork for that. I just will never agree with his system, even if it logically makes sense. I will never, in a million years, agree with it. Especially with that dirty move that he pulled on the E class. They were doing so well on that test, and he intentionally fucked them over. Enough to where it even affected Koro Sensei, who even he did not even know about the whole thing. And ironically, led to a really good moment with Karma ended up scoring really well on the test, for one. Ironically giving like a renewed vigor to not only the students, but also Koro Sensei. So leading to their new goal where they're going to get the entire class scoring in the top 50 just to kind of show it, just to make fun of those elites and all that. Needless to say, I'm liking the direction that this is going in. Ironically, it's because of how much I really, really like Koro Sensei that I've just forgotten that, not only is he teaching these kids to kill, he's gonna destroy the planet if he's not killed. However, I'm still leaning on my idea that he had made a promise to whoever that woman was that I'm assuming, because he had to teach this class specifically, I believe that there's an ulterior motive that he's trying to build these students up to face against the discrimination that they're suffering against and turn them into a bunch of upstanding, fantastic students, despite the fact that they have killing abilities now. Hey, at least they'll be able to defend themselves if they ever get into a scuffle, so that's good. Anyway, let's get started. So, it's school trip time. And boy, oh boy, was it one hell of a school trip. I'm guessing that it says, I guess it said it was first period, so I'm guessing that means there's going to be a sort of a part 2 to this, which, hey, more of that'd be totally good. So they went on a trip to Kyoto, which apparently has a bit of a history with famous assassinations. And since I recognize the name Oda Obunaga, fuck, you know what I mean. His kind of assassination. I'm guessing that it must be true that there was a lot of assassinations in that time, which ironically adds a little bit more context as to why they had that school trip there in the first place. Well, I guess in some regard for Class E at least. It's got a good, rich history concerning assassinations, which could kind of enrich them. And I somewhat... I partially overestimated the class. Because we got some gang members who kidnapped 2 of the girls and kind of, well, it started off good. Karma kind of had a very good thing kind of going on, as at least a good of sneak attacks somewhat. But 2 of the girls got kidnapped, and we learned a little bit about Kanzaki having a little bit of a, would it be appropriate to say mean streak? Kind of going through a phase. I think that's how they put it. That's probably good. Based on the pressure from her family trying to get better grades and all that. And ironically, this leads to some really damn good of some of my most favorite moments so far of this episode. Just the fact that Koro Sensei he really planned everything out. Like, oh, by the way, here are some famous places that some people kidnap and all that shit. So here's some of the places that could be possible hideouts and all that. Very good on that one. Good on you, Koro Sensei. Good on you. It really goes to show how much he really does care about his students. And not only were they able to kind of, oh, by the way, we found out where you guys are. And then it had another turnaround where they said, oh, by the way, our best buddies are coming in. And it turns out Koro Sensei already took care of them, ironically leading to, oh, such a good moment where it looked like he had turned black for like a split moment. Where he's like, don't touch my students. Like, that is... I'm repeating myself. That's like the strongest point of this show so far. The relationship between Koro Sensei and the students. And showing, like, that despite what Koro Sensei is, there's a lot of humanity in him. Like, as much as he legitimately cares about his students. Not only how well they're doing in school, but also their actual well-being. Like, part of me believes that he probably would not have intervened. Like, he believes in his students. That's pretty obvious. But I feel if we're looking at this realistically, I bet those guys that he had taken out so effectively, I feel like their inclusion would have caused some... Because the students would have been outnumbered. There's a chance that even with Karma on their side, they would have been overwhelmed. So I want to take into regard that Koro Sensei did intervene there because, okay, this is a little bit much. I'm going to have to step in and I'm going to have to protect my kids. Kind of like that. Which was the highlight. I'm wondering how next episode's going to top this up. I'm not even up to episode 10. I'm literally on episode 7. And I'm already getting like these, well... I wouldn't say painful, but holy crap, I'm getting head rushes from just how excited I'm getting from just this one show. That or I'm really just sick. I'll take an ibuprofen after I'm done with this. But anyway, this episode, really, really damn good. For the obvious reasons, because Koro Sensei's the best. He really is. I'm gonna go take some medicine real quick. And we'll see what happens from there. I normally try to record these episodes together at once, but now that I'm starting to think, oh, yeah, I'm gonna go take an ibuprofen. Anyway, regardless if this is gonna be a 1 episode week or 2 episode week, I will. I'm gonna try to watch the next episode, and I'll see you guys there. Woo. Okay, it's been about an hour since last episode. I took some medicine. I think it's kicking in a little bit. Not as bad as it was at the end of that episode. Anyway, so we are now on episode 8 of Assassination Classroom. In the last episode, they started off a school trip. Quite good, quite good. Quite good. Ironically, leading to a... Okay, I know I keep saying that this show has so many of my favorite moments, but this is definitely going to be added to the list of growing moments that I felt were utterly fantastic. Okay, so, short summary. We had a bit of a... I want to say it was a botched kidnapping, although technically they kind of still sort of got what they wanted at first. Getting all of the, well, getting 2 of the students. But, seeing that Koro-sensei had prepared a very, very detailed guide, up to the point where he's even got like, oh, by the way, I've also got these contingency plans in case something bad happens, like, oh, I don't know, a kidnapping, and even if there is a kidnapping, here's a step-by-step list on how you're going to handle this. Also, here are the locations of various hideouts for various gangs. Anyway, I thought that was... Oh god, it really shows how good of a teacher Koro-sensei is. And leading to a very, very good sort of back and forth. First off, students get kind of beaten down. However, they bounce right back up and they're like, okay, so we know what to do here. Then they almost get ambushed as soon as they figure out where the hideout is. And then we lead to the coolest, most satisfying moment of Koro-sensei coming in with the save and basically laying the smackdown on all these people who tried to hurt his students. Literally everything about that entire sequence was phenomenal to me. It was utterly amazing. And I feel like that's probably the only way that I can perfectly describe it. Otherwise, I'm just going to end up repeating things, and I understand people don't like that. I'm going to try to tackle this with the same level of enthusiasm that I usually do, considering the medicine's kicking in and it's working its magic, at least a little bit. The headache is somewhat gone. Somewhat. Oh well. Anyway, let's go and see the rest, hopefully the rest of this little school trip that they're going on. Alright, so let's go a little bit of a rundown about what happened today. So first off, they finished off their, their class trip. Quite nice, very nice indeed. Had a very, honestly, it was cute as hell, funny skit involving, ironically, the girls started like peeping in on Koro-sensei trying to take a bath, and okay, I gotta say that entire little segment was actually quite funny. At the beginning of the episode, we had a bit of a first-class sniper, aka I think he said his name was Red Eye, and his assassination attempts failed, and I like that little conversation that Koro-sensei had with him. Like, first off, very nice of him to kind of give Red Eye this nice little trinket, a little bit of a souvenir. Quite nice of him. And then the two were just casually just having a nice little, I think it was like a bit of a late night dinner together, and just kind of talking out a little bit. It's actually quite nice, as well as discussing like how well the students kind of worked with this assassin and ironically enriched their experience by learning about the towns and locations that they were in. Actually giving them a good little, a very nice class trip that they'll be able to remember. Very nice. And now we gleaned 2 pieces of information. Just from a single statement, Koro-sensei used to be human. From before he had 2 hands and 2 feet. That was very telling. That was interesting, to say the least. That Koro-sensei wasn't entirely just some sort of supernatural experiment of sorts. He was actually a human at one time. And now at the end of this episode, we got a bonus little I guess it's a bit of a sneak peek of two silhouettes. These special superhuman assassins that were created to help out. Now this, I bet this is where things are going to get very, very interesting. It makes sense. With that first piece of information that we got, that Koro-sensei used to be a human, it actually makes sense that for some reason, okay, well, let's go over this properly. So with that implication, I'm betting you they're part of the same project that whatever made Koro-sensei. So let's say they were trying to make a superhuman project, and they fully succeeded with somebody like Koro-sensei. However, Koro-sensei was less than cooperative. So what did they do? They decided to try again, probably doing a different method, which resulted in two somewhat more successful superhumans. However, they did state that one of them still has some kinks to work on. Or kinks to work out, sorry. Which makes me wonder, it also makes me think that the actual experiment is probably not 100% perfect. If there's still, like, some kinks. It's kind of sad, but it really shows that, yeah, if you don't fail, if you fail the first time, you'll probably succeed again if you keep on doing it. Regardless, it really goes to show, like, okay, if normal people can't do it, we're gonna have to have something else that's superhuman. However, what's to say that these don't get either A, destroyed, or B, they malfunction in some way? I don't know. It looks like we'll be able to be meeting these individuals in the next episode. This is a pretty good week. I gleaned a little bit more information about Koro-sensei finally, which makes me quite happy now that I know at least a little bit more about him. And now we're seeing what the next step of what the government is planning on doing. As well as another great highlight, seeing Koro-sensei once again show that he cares about his students. Which is so good. Apparently it was so good that it caused me to get overly excited and caused myself to get a headache. Needless to say, that was the opposite of fun, to say the least. Anyway, that is where I'm going to end it. So needless to say, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what these two new characters might bring to the table. Hopefully, they'll probably be up next week. We'll find out. Regardless, thank you all very much for watching, and if you all like this, be sure to let me know. And I will definitely see all of you guys in the next video.